There are wounds that don't bleed, scars no one ever sees, and stories people never tell because the pain was never loud enough to be acknowledged. It didn't come with dramatic moments or obvious tragedy. It came quietly, over years, through disappointment, betrayal, emotional neglect, pressure, loss, and the constant need to stay strong when no one asked how you were holding up. People assume suffering always looks broken, but the truth is far more unsettling.
Some of the most deeply hurt people don't look damaged at all. They look composed, functional, calm. They laugh at the right moments. They show up. They survive. And that's exactly why their pain goes unnoticed.
When someone has suffered too much, the mind adapts. Not in obvious ways, but in subtle psychological shifts that shape how they think, feel, and interact with the world. These changes aren't weaknesses, they're survival mechanisms. And unless you know what to look for, you might never realize how much someone has endured just to become the person standing in front of you. Today, we're uncovering the hidden traits that quietly form when someone has been through more than they should have had to carry alone. One of the first things that changes is how they process emotions. They don't react the way people expect. Big moments don't always bring big reactions. Pain taught them that emotions can be dangerous, unpredictable, or simply useless when no one responds to them. So they learn to internalize. They feel deeply, but privately. They rarely express distress in obvious ways, because at some point, expressing it didn't help. It may have been ignored, minimized, or turned against them. Over time, silence felt safer than vulnerability. Another trait that forms is hyper-awareness, not the anxious kind people notice immediately, but a quiet scanning of the environment. They read tone changes, micro-expressions, shifts in energy. They sense tension before it's spoken. This isn't intuition by chance, it's learned vigilance. When life taught them that things can go wrong without warning, the brain adapted by staying alert. To outsiders, they may seem calm. Inside, their mind is always a few steps ahead, anticipating outcomes, preparing for impact. People who've suffered deeply also develop a complicated relationship with trust. They don't give it easily, and when they do, it's measured. This isn't bitterness, it's pattern recognition. They learned that not everyone who smiles is safe, and not everyone who promises will stay. So they watch actions more than words. They test consistency. They keep emotional distance until reliability proves itself over time. And even then, part of them remains guarded, not because they want to be distant, but because losing trust once hurt enough to last a lifetime. There's also a strange strength that develops, one that often gets misunderstood. They become incredibly self-reliant. Asking for help feels uncomfortable, sometimes even threatening. Somewhere along the way, they learned that depending on others led to disappointment, rejection, or feeling like a burden. So they built independence not out of pride, but necessity. They learned to handle things alone because they had no other choice. And while this strength helps them survive, it also isolates them in ways few people notice. Perhaps the most hidden trait of all is their deep empathy. Not the surface-level kind, but the kind that recognizes pain instantly in others. They notice what people don't say. They sense heaviness behind smiles. They understand silence. This empathy didn't come from theory or education. It came from lived experience. Pain taught them to recognize pain. And that's why they're often the ones others lean on, even while they quietly carry their own weight. What's important to understand is that these traits don't appear overnight. They form slowly, layer by layer, as the mind adapts to repeated emotional strain. They are evidence of endurance, not fragility. But society rarely acknowledges this kind of strength because it doesn't look heroic. It looks ordinary, and that's what makes it invisible. If you see yourself in these patterns, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you survived something that changed you. Healing doesn't require erasing these traits. It requires understanding them, learning when they protect you and when they hold you back, learning that you don't always have to be strong, alert, or self-sufficient anymore, learning that safety can exist without constant vigilance. At Spark Your Potential, we believe growth begins with awareness. When you understand why you are the way you are, you stop blaming yourself for coping the only way you knew how. You start making conscious choices instead of automatic reactions, and that's where real transformation begins. Suffering may have shaped you, but it doesn't get to define the rest of your story. The same mind that adapted to pain can also adapt to peace. The same strength that helped you endure can help you rebuild. You are not broken, you are conditioned, and conditioning can be unlearned. If this message resonated with you, it's because part of you recognized the truth in it. Not everyone will understand this journey, and that's okay. You don't need validation from those who never had to survive what you did. What you need is clarity, self-compassion, and the courage to grow beyond survival mode. As you move forward, remember this. The fact that you're still here means something within you refused to give up, even when life gave you every reason to shut down. That resilience is not accidental. It's powerful. And when you learn to channel it toward healing instead of just enduring, you unlock a version of yourself that isn't just surviving anymore, but truly living. This is Spark Your Potential, where awareness becomes strength and strength becomes growth. And if you've suffered deeply, know this: your story isn't over. It's just waiting for its next chapter.